Welcome, Kelly Killingsworth, to Coaching in Session. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here.
No problem. Today, I have you on as a veteran, small business owner, and resilience master. And the last aspect is what we're really going to be talking about because resilience is one of those traits, values, whatever you want to consider it, that are going to help you understand exactly what you want in life. Because some people, when they go through the struggles, those struggles are going to move them in a certain way, maybe toward negativity, maybe toward self destruction, almost never toward growth. But there's going to be a few individuals that say, I don't care what happened in my life. I'm going to be bigger than that. I'm going to overcome all of these obstacles and all of these challenges. And you have a story of success and how you were able to overcome that. In your own words, can you tell the world who you are, what you do, and how you help?
My name's Kelly Killingsworth. I'm a United States veteran. I came from a small town. Everybody knows everybody. Family was a very troubled household when I was growing up. And after the military, I struggled with alcohol abuse, substance abuse, depression. And it was about just over 2 years ago, I became clean and sober. And from that point till now and ongoing, it's just my life has been exponentially better.
There is a trend, and this is not to say that people in the military all follow this trend, but it seems like there's like a party phase or a phase where they use an escape, whether it be alcohol, drugs, some type of outlet to get out of their mind and into a different space. Can we talk about why that is a trend or why that happens so frequently with our veterans?
Of course we can, yeah. In the military, alcohol was always part of the situation whenever we weren't in uniform. But what I could say is after deployment and coming home and getting out of the military, that transition right there is very, very hard. In the military, we have a structure of a set of goals, how to get the mission done. And when we come into the civilian world, it's not like that. There are tons of avenues of approach that we can take, and that leaves room for a lot of failure. Alcohol and substance kind of hides a lot of feelings and thoughts. And once you're out of the military, you don't have what I've found is the brotherhood, the unity really can't be found in the civilian world. And it takes a long time to try to realize that you just have to build it a different way.
And that transition out of the military, many people struggle with that. I have clients who were in the military and they go to the VA for services, mental health, and it's almost like they are always in line, they say. It's always like, okay, well, I go here, they don't help me, and there's not much support. When you're in the military, you get a lot more support, and when you are in the civilian world, it's a lot less support. And at that moment, you feel alone. And what people tend to do is, if I feel alone, how can I not feel that? And people like to drown themselves and they like to forget. And you said something great, brotherhood. That's gone, right? Yes, you can keep in touch with some people, but how does that fare typically? People have their own lives, people have their own ambitions and their own passions. And it's only a matter of time before the phone stops ringing or you stop getting those texts that you would receive so frequently. The transition can be difficult, but the mindset it can create, if you can get through it, is one of resilience. What was your mindset like after you decided to change your situation, sobriety, of course, getting your life back together, maybe focusing on family? What was that mindset like, and how has that mindset helped you start a business?
I have three values that I live by. One is integrity, and that's doing the right things for the right reasons with honesty. The second is resilience. And I like to think of resilience as being like a clock in a windstorm, steady ticking, always forward. My father, he explained that to me when I was going through this transition, and it really stuck with me because, like a lot of chaos going on around me, but I had to remember to just stay steady ticking and continue moving forward. And then my third value is strength. And I look at that as the buffalo versus the cow. When a storm's coming over the horizon, a buffalo runs towards the storm and essentially gets through the storm to the other side. And the cow kind of hides from the storm, ends up running from the storm. The storm catches up to the cow, and pretty much the cow stays in the storm. So I like to think I'm the buffalo. That's where the picture comes in behind me here. And so I stuck to those values, and those values have got me to where I'm at today.
And where are you at today?
Today, I own a 3 bedroom, 2 bath house. I own a construction company. I have multiple pieces of equipment. I have a wife and 3 kids. My 2 older kids are with me every other week. They're from a prior relationship. And my relationships with my mentors, my bankers, my friends, I don't have a lot of friends, but the friends that I do have, my relationships are just a lot better, a lot more efficient. They're stronger. I've been really working on my communication skills, and I didn't realize it in the past how important communication is, and it's very important. I'm figuring out.
You have a passion for telling people about your history, about what you went through, because your story is one of success. And people love success stories. People love to see someone go through it, come out on the other end. They might be bruised and battered, but they made it. And this is where many people start to see hope. People are not going to see hope from a shining, from a knight in shining armor, and that person never went to battle. They want to see the knight. They want to see the person who struggled. They want to see the person who went through the gauntlet and then came out walking and standing. That is more appealing to the mindset than someone who had a perfect life. This is true for any mental health advocate, any life coach, any mindset coach, any motivational speaker. They cannot be pristine, because pristine is just showing you that you don't understand what I went through. And in a sense, people will never truly understand what you went through, because our traumas are going to be individualized and unique to us. That means what might be traumatic for me might not be traumatic for you, and vice versa. And then the experiences that you had, especially being in the military, those traumas are going to be very different, especially if you're going and speaking with a civilian who has never seen battle, who has never put foot on hostile territory. They don't know the fear. What was your fear before you said, I need to change my life?
As in, what was I hiding from?
It could be that. Yeah.
Well, I'll start here. There was a long time after the military that I wasn't able to look at myself in the mirror. And after the military, I started making the wrong choices, the wrong decisions for the wrong reasons. And I knew it. And at the time I had 2 kids as well, but I kept making the wrong choices, and I just couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I was hiding a lot from my past as I grew up. And for some reason, I chose to go down a similar path. Maybe that's because that's all I knew at the time. But the moment came when I was going to lose my kids, I was going to lose my house. I had no money, and I forced myself to look at myself in the mirror. That was just a hard transition, and it wasn't easy to do for quite a while either. But I forced myself to do that, and I forced myself to look at my past and realize that everything that I've done to get me to now is in the past. I can either learn from it, or I could dwell on it and never try to fix it and never try to become better for my family, for my kids. And so I had to make at the time, it was a hard decision. Man, I'm glad that I made it though.
And you're right. You can learn or you can dwell on it. And many people, they choose to dwell on it because it's easier to have in action. There is going to be fear regardless. So why not jump toward that fear? Why not say, all right, I'm going to be afraid to pay my bills. I'm going to be afraid to lose my kids, my house, or whatever. Or I can be afraid to change. And most people, they just don't want to change because change feels uncomfortable. Similar to growth, growth feels uncomfortable. And when you started to get that resilient mindset, when you started to walk toward your fears instead of away from them, what was able to happen was you started to fix the things in your life that were maybe falling apart, right? Your family, your living situations. And then you could say, well, where is my focus? Now, your focus is, of course, speaking with people, talking to people about your story, because it is one that is going to be of glory and of triumph. But then you said, I'm going to do something extremely difficult. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to equip myself with mentors, the right people, and then I'm going to grow something that many people are too afraid to grow. Many people are actually afraid to start a business because they understand that the chance for success is so low. And then the necessity for themselves to put in so much work initially to grow and help the business prosper is another issue. When you started your business, what were some of the pitfalls and challenges you faced, and how did you overcome them?
When I started my business, it was COVID. So before that, I was in the union. I was making fairly decent money, but I was always gone. And I came to a point where I had a double hernia surgery and I was out on disability. And when I went back to go to work after that surgery is when COVID had happened. And then I had bills coming. So I had to do my own thing. So that's what forced me in a way to start my own business.
Mm.
And I had no idea. I'm learning. It's a learning curve that never stops. But I started my business and I was building fences, decks, and it went well for a couple years, but I still wasn't making the right decisions. I would felt like I would get in a comfortable spot, and that's when I would go and I would have a couple drinks, which would lead to a couple more, and I would go down a rabbit hole. And I've been down that rabbit hole a couple times. Now, at the end of 2022, I became licensed in the state of California, and I know now what not to do. And so when I get in a comfortable position, I really look ahead and I try to force myself to get in another uncomfortable position to keep myself moving forward.
We talked a little bit offline about mentorship. Mentorships can be a great thing. They can help give us focus, guidance, knowledge, and wisdom that we might not be keen on, especially in the beginning of starting a business. Because most people, they don't have business acumen. They don't know what to do to start a business. They might know the basics. Well, I got to get an LLC or do a DBA. I have to make a Facebook page. I have to do the bare bones to get clients in. But yet, there's a lot of backdoor stuff that needs to happen. There's a lot of tricks of the trade, we can say. And typically, mentorship is going to alleviate some of the pains of becoming an entrepreneur, small business owner initially, because they're going to be helping you see all your blind spots. How has the power of mentorship helped influence your career?
Oh, it's been extremely helpful. Last year, after I became licensed, I then got a coach for my business. I took my business from zero to 250K gross last year. This year, we have a goal of getting to 1 million. And I can't express enough the importance of having a coach. Now, I have a coach for my business. I also have a group of entrepreneurs that I'm a part of that very high level people. And what I realized is that I had to level up my inner circle. And that's part of getting a mentor. What do they say? You are going to be the sixth person that you hang out with. So that's what I had to do. And it was really lonely. There was a lonely time where I literally had no friends and it sucked. But that's what forced me into getting new friends and now just accelerating in life.
You are not alone in that effort, especially for men. Men struggle with this aspect to find brotherhood, friends, entrepreneurs of high levels that they can speak with quite frequently. This is not uncommon. What did you do to begin to get out of that place in your life where you didn't have the friends necessary, the connections necessary, the mentors necessary? Was it just going on Google, finding the answer, or was it speaking with someone and getting a contact and then inquiring about services?
At first, it was my father. My father became sober when I was about 8 years old. So at first, it was my father talking to my father and getting me through that transition period. Then it was social media. And I found a few people that I liked, I followed, and I started to converse with them and kind of went down that path. And by doing that, it made me realize that, there's people out there that I want to emulate. And it was hard to find people in my local area that I want to emulate. It's a small town, everybody knows everybody, and I know a lot of people that are making the wrong choices for the wrong reasons. I ended up joining Accelerator's organization, and since then, it just opened doors to unimaginable growth. Actually, last year, I got awarded the Mindset Shift Award for that organization.
Yeah, no, that's a great place to be around people who want to grow. And the podcast that we have here, Coaching in Session, is all about self-improvement, self-help, personal professional development, coaching to help people get out of their situation. And when you speak with someone who has gone through it, you can learn so much. And it gives individuals, it gives the audience members hope, especially we all know somebody. We know someone who might be going through it. I know countless veterans and I speak with them. And when I speak with them, it's the simplest conversations, it seems like, but to them, they're the most meaningful conversations because they don't necessarily have anyone to speak with. They might be married, and that's the only person that they can speak with. They have kids, they can't really speak to their kids about their issues because they're an adult, and adult have adult issues, and kids have kids issues. Who do we speak with? And that's why finding like-minded or growth-minded individuals, because you don't want to necessarily be with like-minded individuals, like as you were saying, everyone in your small town, everyone has the same like mindset, but there's not much growth going on. And all across America, there are these small pockets where everyone knows everyone, as we were talking about. But when you're in those small towns, a lot of people, they feel like the walls are caving in on them. They feel like they don't have much chance. There's not much opportunity. They have a scarcity mindset. They don't see the opportunity. How did you see the opportunity? Was it just speaking with your father, speaking with these entrepreneurs, or did you have a fire and desire inside of you that you wanted to show the world?
What I did is I took what I'm good at, which is for me is driving trucks and operating equipment. And I capitalized on top of that. I'm good at it, so that's what I'm going to go for. So I became licensed. And the thing is, though, it's hard. It's super hard coming into an industry in a small town where there's already other companies that are doing what I can do, but on a much larger scale is definitely an eye opener. And it probably is a little bit of, yeah, I want to show people that I can do that, that I can be here, that I deserve to be here. Kelco deserves to grow here because there's a lot of people that have their doubts. And that's what part of me changing is facing all that doubt and facing doubt in myself because I know it can happen and it's already there. I just need to figure out how to grab it.
And you're not alone. As I said, doubt is going to be there for everyone, right? And a lot of people, they have a hard time differentiating between what makes them different. What makes them different from the company that's right next door to me? Because you can have a company that's literally right next door to another construction company. And guess what? You can be making a killing. What makes you different? And this is where we start to differentiate between mindsets because something that we can look at is any career, right? Let's use journalism, for example. We have our mainstream journalists, right? It could be ABC, MSN, CNN, Fox News. We have journalists there that are the anchors. Then you have independent anchors or independent journalists that will go out, they'll do stories, they have maybe a YouTube following, maybe a Twitch following, whatever. They have some type of following and they're able to go out and do the work. Yet there's going to be restrictions in what is appropriate. For example, Tucker Carlson, right? We all know him. Some people hate him, some people love him, but he has that passion, that desire to separate himself from other journalists. He can be in the same room as all these other networks, and yet he would shine the brightest. Why? Because he has decided to love what he has done. He is good at it. He's great at it. but he also decided to do what he loved. And that separates people. Most people just do things out of convenience. But if you do it out of love, that separates you. And a lot of people, it's the simplest thing, but yet they overlook it. We love what we do. We're good at it. We typically love what we're good at because in our brain, if I'm good at it, I excel at it, it makes me feel good. But we do have to get over that doubt. We have to get over that, what's it called? Napoleon complex or something, where we feel inferior or something along those lines. How do you separate yourself from other businesses?
Well, one big separation is we are a service connected, disabled veteran owned small business. So that sets us apart. And what I'm trying to do is change the culture in the construction industry. That's part of my mission is to create an awesome culture for my employees, my customers, and my partners. And before this, it's been a pretty harsh environment for construction workers. And what I'm trying to do is change that. There's a lot of people coming up into this industry that want to be taken care of, and I want to take care of them, and I want to take care of the people that I work with. So that's part of our mission.
Yeah, and the aspect of wanting to take care of someone, especially as a boss, CEO, owner of the company, it's something that we spearhead most of the time, right? It feels very lonely because it's like, okay, if I don't do it, who will? And most people are not going to walk in our shoes and then at the end of the race and we get to the goal, they're going to give us the pair of shoes and say, here, good luck. We don't have the experience. We don't have the knowledge that they gained. We can get the results, but those results necessarily are just going to fade because we haven't done the work. And when you do the work, you learn what's missing in a career and a profession. As you said, culture. And culture is big. And our culture today is damaged, to say the least, where we have veterans who are struggling, where there's no support or very little support for them. There are people who cannot find friendships, create brotherhoods or sisterhoods. This is all a trend that is all too common. And what you do is you are beginning to tell the world who you are, to show them what resilience can create and how you can attain better in your life. It just takes a bit of courage, to say the least, to get out of that comfort and to begin to change your circumstance. And the conversation that we had is just that, to help people begin to change their circumstance regardless of their situation. You can be in a very low place right now, but it doesn't mean you have to stay there. And as we begin to wrap up, I would love for you to share any final words with us and then to tell the audience where they can find you.
Yeah, I'd like to share that. I mean, I was in the trenches for a long time. I like to call it the deep, dark trenches. I thought when I was at that point in my life, I could not see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I thought that this was my life and I wasn't going to be able to change it. It's just how it's going to be. And I'm just going to have to deal with it. It took me a long time to be able to look at myself in the mirror and be able to see somewhat of a light at the end of the tunnel. But I want to share that it is there. I just had to make up my mind that I needed to change. And by doing that, the light started to come. That's what I'd like to share. You could find me at digkelco.com or Kelco Construction on Instagram and Facebook. I post a lot of my growth journey on those pages. It's part of my personal brand and what I'm trying to build.
Perfect. And I'll make it easy for everyone. All of the links are going to be in the description box below. And I encourage everyone to check out Kelly's social media's website because this is what growth is. This is what a growth mindset looks like. It's someone who doesn't care about their, I guess you could say, their past solely, and they become victims to it. They decide to elevate themselves from their past situations. And if you are going through it right now, if you're struggling, if you are having a hard time finding people to help elevate you, look at people's success stories, such as Kelly's here today, and use that as a, I guess you can say, a booster or momentum pack that's going to help propel you into better aspects of your life, better aspects of changing behaviors and creating the habits necessary for prosperity in your life. I want to thank you so much, Kelly, for coming on, spending some time. and introducing yourself to the world.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.